I know this one.
It's just a wedding podcast.
This episode is brought to you by Sound Precision Entertainment and Cufflink Media, Cleveland's best DJ, photo, and video team. When it comes to your big day, why juggle multiple vendors when you can have one amazing team? We're going to save you time, money, and stress because we're better together. From packed dance floors to photos and cinematic video, we've got you covered from I Do to The Last Dance. Book your wedding dream team today at spedj.com and cufflinkmedia.com. Find the links in the description below.
What is going on, guys? We are back with another episode of the It's Just a Wedding podcast.
It's just a wedding.
No. Oh, come on. You said your voice was almost back.
It's just a wedding.
It's just a wedding.
What do we have in store today for the horror story, huh?
All right, yeah, we're going to do a horror story, and I'm going to take you back a couple of years, probably circa early 2000s. I'll never forget this one. So we were doing a wedding down in Worcester, Ohio.
Ugh.
Worcester.
Down in the wuss. It was...
That's close to where I'm from.
I know. It's not good. We're down in Worcester, and it just so happened that it was a really big storm was going on, And I'll never forget, we are, just through introductions that people were just sitting down for dinner, and tornado warning, sirens are going off the whole bit, and then next thing you know, power goes out in the venue. Now, we've had this happen since. And the reason it hasn't been a horror story is because, with newer technology, we have, battery-powered up lights, and sometimes now we even have battery-powered speakers, and, you can kind of keep the night going, not to the best of our ability, but, at least keep it going. Well, early 2000s, none of this existed. Yep. So it was, lights out in this wedding. And all I remember was, the bride being super upset and in some ways almost getting angry at me that, we couldn't just, wireless play music at this wedding, and it turned into a whole big thing. And the worst part was, because it was pretty crazy, it wasn't where the power goes down for 15 minutes, we're back. It was down for 2.5 hours.
Damn.
So what'd you guys do? How'd you keep the night going? You're the entertainment. You got to come up with something.
We did not do anything. It was pitch black in there. What am I going to do?
Order a live band at that point?
No, Scott's got some pipes on him. You could have started singing.
It was pretty bad. Everybody ended up outside because it was super dark inside. The AC was off. It got really hot. So I guess what I would say to our prospective brides and grooms, not every hall, of course, is going to have a generator. However, it's not a bad thing if they've got one sitting in the back parking lot just in case something like that were to happen.
Also, nowadays, just look at your vendors, make sure they have battery-powered things rather than everything to be plugged in.
Within reason, that's true, but not everything. We have speakers that are battery-powered, but our subwoofers are not. Many of our lights are not. So really,
at least you have something, though.
To do the job the right way, you really do need power. But it would be possible to at least keep the evening in some way, shape, or form going.
Yeah, we have some battery up lights and a battery speaker. We could moderately keep things going.
And that's
you would
better
have no
than
microphone.
nothing.
Maybe it'd be better than nothing. So that is this week's horror story. Check those Jennies, guys. Make sure you got the Jennies in the back. Now, this week's episode is kind of fun. So, we've been having a lot of guests on. So, when you have guests, the topics get kind of chosen for you. So we have a DJ on, or we've had planners on. So this is one of those weeks where it's just the three of us again on set. And we're getting to that time of the year where it's late September, heading into just the absolute bear of the season. And I feel like it's fair to say that we've all, we've kind of taken a beating in weddings. We're limping to the finish line a little bit. We're bloodied and bruised. We're heading in. So I thought, what is a better way to cope with things like that than by having what I would call a bitch and gripe episode, as far as the things that we are seeing this year and every other year that are just driving us absolutely nuts as wedding vendors. And it's our chance to kind of tee off a little bit, but more importantly, let brides know, hey, these are things that probably can be avoided. So you should know these things, listen to these things, and if they can be addressed, definitely address them.
So I got to ask you, is gripe a commonly used word? Or did you just come up with that? I don't think I've ever heard of the word gripe.
I think you're stupid.
I don't think so.
I don't think I've ever heard of it being really used.
I think you're also stupid because the
think
word
so.
gripe is it is one of the most common words ever.
One of the most common words.
Yeah. I will actually turn to our team. Have you heard the word gripe, Shane?
Well, Shane's
John,
67.
have you heard the word gripe?
John is 48.
You guys are...
I don't think people really use it now. Within like our generation, I don't think it's commonly as used.
Listen, that is just a standard word in the dictionary, and you guys are sounding like uneducated folks right now. The gripe is not even like a hard word. Like, it's not even like a crazy word.
I mean, using context clues, I could understand what it meant, but gripe is a commonly used word, especially in formal context. Okay, well, let's carry on here then.
Literally, I am dumbfounded by how dumb you are right now.
It could be based on generation.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are old. We're in that that younger category.
I know what it means, but I've never really heard people use it often.
Well, I have to tell you guys,
if I'm going to be honest,
most people are now stupider for the last about 45 seconds of this podcast.
Well, people also don't. Yeah, they shorten words now, and it's weird.
What are you going to shorten it to? Grip?
Grown.
All right, we're moving on. Sorry for what you guys just had to listen to. So a couple of things that are really kind of grinding my gears this season. So I want to set the stage a bit. However, I understand where the halls are coming from, but why it's annoying. So the first thing I want to talk about is more and more venues are moving to having these decibel meters at your wedding. Now, is decibel a hard word for you, or do you know what that one means?
I'll sit here for 25 minutes and not say a word.
So to our brides and grooms, what that basically means is decibels is basically rating the volume in which your wedding is taking place. So to give you kind of a general idea, when you have a cocktail hour, people are just laughing, talking, light music in the background, typically you're around 75 to 85 decibels, okay? When a party is raging, and I mean where you can get like the ears ringing or you're at a concert, you could be over 100 to 110 decibels. Now, more and more of these halls are moving to a decibel limit, and generally speaking, that limit ends up around 90, which quite frankly is just a little bit above like what you'd expect your cocktail hour volume to be, which is not cool when you're spending thousands of dollars on entertainment to come and put together a fantastic environment and rock a crowd to make people want to have a killer time.
It's killing the vibe.
It's killing the vibe.
Wrecking the vibe.
Do your research on venues.
Now, here's what I have to explain. It doesn't make it okay, but I want to explain what happens. So a lot of these newer halls, they're actually built near residential neighborhoods. Some of them even have like indoor, outdoor spaces to have your reception. So what happens is they open the hall, they have all these great parties, DJs come in, they just bang these parties out. And what happens, all of those surrounding neighbors and even some businesses call and complain to the city or the municipality. Yep. And now they're sending police officers time and time again to the hall. And it gets to the point where the city says, hey, look, you are either going to meter your decibels and volume, or we're going to be citing you, ticketing you, and in some cases it can go as far as like we're even going to pull your liquor license. Yeah. So now if you've put millions of dollars into this venue, into this business, I could totally understand why you're like, I can't lose my liquor license. We're going to have to basically follow suit. Yeah. I can get on board with that. The problem that I have is we have had probably a half a dozen clients this wedding season alone who they do not find out that their wedding is going to be decibel read until it is their wedding night. And now you have the bride, the groom, the parents coming up to us.
These venues are withholding that information.
That's
on
not cool.
So what they do is they are burying it. I mean, it's in the contract, but you know how that goes. Like if you have a 10 or 12 page document, and even if you did read it, if you're just your standard, 25 to 28-year-old bride, most brides, why would you know what 90 decibels even is? Yeah. So they're basically just like throwing it in there where either people don't see it or they just assume they're not going to know what that means. Mm-hmm. And then the night of the wedding, now you're not having the experience that you really wanted to have. So my thing is, I don't blame the hall. What I blame the hall for is not telling people right up front, straight away, that, hey, this is our facility's rules. This is what it needs to be, and at least letting the bride and groom make the decision on whether that's something they could tolerate for their wedding.
That's really shitty to like bury it in legal jargon and just taking advantage of people not knowing what 90 decibels is truly like. Because if you're somebody who has no idea about a decibel meter or sound or anything like that, 90 can be perceived as that's pretty high.
Yeah.
90 sounds like it'd be a high level.
It
but
does.
It seems like it would be.
It's really not, though.
Now, furthermore, I've done some research on this. So what most of these halls do, and this drives me absolutely up a fucking wall, they end up putting this decibel meter, literally they either set it on our subwoofer or they set it 10 feet away from our speakers. Per the code, when you look at city code, if you're going to use a decibel meter, that should be at the property line. So if you've got an acre of property, that decibel meter should be sitting all the way on the property line, and then that is where the 90 decibels should be metered.
But they don't do
not
that.
from right in front of the fucking speaker.
Yeah, right in front of the speaker is going to be juice compared to...
I mean, so, these are the things where if you are booking your wedding in a venue that you just know is in a residential area, if it's a venue that is in a country club where there's all kinds of condos and houses around, wineries, things where it's just not your traditional hotel ballroom, those are some great venues. I would never steer anybody away from, but it's worth asking that question because trust me, as a DJ, 90 decibels is probably not going to get you the juice that you're looking for at your wedding.
Yeah.
So do your research and ask the right questions.
Right.
Yeah, so, I mean, besides doing your research and knowing and what are some other ways that we could work around it?
Making sure they have the reader where it's supposed to be.
Yes. Also, if you want to book some live acts, something where a DJ or where they don't necessarily rely on live music. What about speaker placement? Well, do you think that'll help?
I mean, so what some of these rooms try to do is like, at one time maybe they would allow the DJ to be set up outdoors where now it'll be indoors. Or, if the residential area is, east, they're going to make sure that the speakers are always facing west. So there are little things that you can do to try to mitigate that. But all that is irrelevant when it comes to a decibel meter because the volume is the volume, whether it's facing northeast or west.
That's
so,
true.
So there's not really, a whole lot you can do there. So that was one thing that has really been grinding my gears this year that I think that all brides and grooms should be aware of. And at the very least, it's worth asking your hall, are we going to be metered? Are you running a decibel meter at our wedding?
And then what's the max?
What is the max and what is the policy? And you should know all of those things before you ever get to your wedding day.
Yep.
And if they do have a decibel reader and like a certain max limit that they have on it, make sure that they set it in the right and correct spots on the venue.
Now, I will say something that I think is corny. I would never recommend this for a wedding, but if you absolutely have the hall of your dreams and it happens to be one where you need to get creative, there is something called like a silent disco, okay? And you see these a lot more
I
at
think those are lame.
other types of events. It's where everybody at the wedding is wearing headphones, and basically, the music is being played through headphones, and then
And
the
there's
whole
different
room.
like channels you can change
Everybody
them to
just...
too.
You ever seen videos of the people just like...
Kent used to put those on all the time. I
That's
went
funny.
to one, and it's like different because every single channel you changed, you had like an option between like different channels and different music.
Well, that's the other
and it
thing.
changes the colors on the headset.
So
you
to
know
do it
who's
the right
listening.
way, you have to have multiple DJs because you'd have like a red DJ, a blue DJ, and a green DJ, and then based on what color your headphones are, is which mix you're listening to. So it's like now they want you to lower your music down, and now you have to spend an extra $4,000 to have 3 DJs at your wedding so that it can actually be a cool and fun thing. So do I recommend it? No. Is it something that could be unique in a way to kind of get you by? I guess if you're willing to spend the dough.
Maybe
Yeah.
in like 15 years, but there's too many boomers
Also-
now that aren't going to be walking around with headphones
Also,
on.
I don't know how that's going to work when you have a bunch of drunk people in headphones. You might have to look into replacing some headphones.
Right.
That just doesn't seem like a good
Not a good idea.
mix for me.
Not a good idea.
So, kind of moving right along, I'm just going to keep bitching away here. A lot of our wedding venues that we go to happen to be either in downtown urban areas or areas that just might have a big crowd where parking can be tight. Do me a favor for the bride and grooms, and this is not even just for the bride and groom, it's really for the fucking hall. Have parking situated for your wedding vendors. As DJs, we are either driving 16-foot box trucks or truck and trailer or high roof panel vans. Do not tell me like, oh, well, we would have valeted your car if it only had a 4-foot roof to get into our garage. Other than that, good fucking luck, which is what they do. And they look at the city like, hopefully you can find something. If you are going to charge people to have an event here and those people need to bring in items to their wedding, you should have something situated for the vendors. Now, if you're downtown for like a photographer, videographer, it is very nice to have valet parking validated. Your vendors are going to charge you on the back end the $20, $30, $40, $50 if they have to pay to
some
park.
places in Cleveland, it's $60 even.
It's crazy.
If you have a wedding on like a Saturday and there's a Guardians game or a Cavs game or anything like that, even a Browns game, parking on street or in parking garages will be doubled, almost like $60. So then you're looking for more expensive parking at that point.
And what drives me even crazier is when you get to the venue and then they're snarky as fuck with you about like, well, we can't have you pull up in our valet. It's like, listen, you guys want to make the $60,000, $80,000, $90,000 on this fucking wedding. And to do that, we need to get our shit in your building. So deal with it. Like, these are things that fucking just get me. I'm getting wound up. So parking is a big one. So Nick, I know earlier you mentioned, talk to me about brides picking too many songs, whether it be for the introduction, whether it be for the ceremony, and how that plays out.
Well, particularly for me, the ceremony, in my opinion, is the most stressful part of the entire reception, because that's when everybody is at their most in terms of being captivated. It's super silent. Everybody's watching, a very select few people. Reception, there's all kinds of stuff going on. People are drinking, and this is when they first get there. So traditionally, you'll have your bridal march song, you'll have a different song for the recessional, and so on and so forth. But now people are doing a different song for each person in that ceremony. I mean, we have brides who are doing 10 or 12 different songs in their ceremony. And I just think that's a bit much. If that's what you want to do, I'm going to do it all day, every day. And I'm going to do it as seamlessly as I can. But it's really is hard to try to, especially during the ceremony, for 10 or 12 different songs, people walking down.
I feel like it would be awkward because it'd be like one song start, end.
Well, I think like that's the issue is
it's brutal. It is.
In practice, so it's not that we will do it. Like, this is your wedding. But like in practice, the typical processional down an aisle is generally anywhere from maybe 15 to 20 seconds. So when you're changing a song, in your mind, you're like, oh, everybody gets this like custom song and it's really unique. But in the real world, you don't even get to the chorus of the song and now it's being changed. So it's like, is it really worth taking on the liability of having the more changes you make, the more chances there are for a mistake.
Exactly.
And then you're not even getting the payoff of having like this really cool moment. You're just getting like these 15, 18 second snippets of songs.
Okay, so devil's advocate will probably be like, well, we could just start song number 2 at the chorus and then start song number 3 at the chorus. But the problem with that is we could skip to that next song, but then we got to skip ahead to the chorus. That's going to give us a 5-second leeway in between the song. It's not going to be a smooth transition right into
It's going to be awkward.
There's things you could do. We could set cues and
we
stuff.
We could set cues. But
I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do. It's just a matter of when you're working on a wedding, I agree. It's one of the most important parts of the day, if not the most important part. So it's like, it needs to be nice and it needs to be right. But like, why do you want to put yourself in the situation to where you even give yourself a higher risk of having a mistake? Along the exact same lines, on a ceremony, we just dealt with this a couple weeks back. We tell people all the time, particularly when you are outdoors for a ceremony, our company provides a handheld microphone on a stand. The reason for that is a handheld microphone is a single directional cardioid microphone that is meant to pick up the vocal that's happening right in front of the microphone. When you hear people say lavalier microphones, they are what's called a multi-directional cardioid microphone, which is meant to pick up everything around it in 360 degrees, up to and including very light wind, papers rustling against a microphone, a bride's hair, etc. There is a reason why we ask people and tell people that you do not want to use a lavalier microphone outside. They're hard to EQ. You run the risk of wind noise, and it's just not, in my opinion, it's not worth all the extra liability that you're going to have your sound be ruined during your ceremony so that a microphone isn't on a stand. And, you know, I tell these brides over and over again, you want to lean on the 5 and 10 and 15 years of wedding experience as to why we tell you these things. It's not because we just don't want to plug in one microphone versus another microphone. It has a heck of a lot more to do with everything else that we're doing. So, anything else about ceremonies that you want to complain about? Because I've been complaining my tail off.
Well, I mean, that's my biggest beef with the ceremonies. I think we need to just keep it simple. We'll get your people up there in 3 songs. We'll get them out.
Well, Julia, when we were talking earlier, you made mention of there's a lot of people that want to go to a whole lot of locations, and they don't necessarily want to provide a bus. So walk me through some of the bitches and gripes from a photography perspective about, hey, you want to go to 9 places between your ceremony and your reception. We only have an hour. Go.
So that's really unrealistic if you have to drive separately to those places. Most of the time when it's like that, it's downtown Cleveland. Going to the arcade, the art museum, the Cleveland Public Library, all those fun places, sometimes the cultural gardens. With those,
The Mocha.
What?
The Mocha.
The Mocha?
Museum of Contemporary Art.
I don't think anyone has ever really been there.
Nobody's been to the Mocha.
No, not yet, no.
Wow.
But I don't know. Anyways, to come back on track. Parking situation in downtown Cleveland is ridiculous.
Brutal.
If you plan on hitting a lot of different locations, usually more than one, I would not recommend having the videographers or photographers drive separately to those locations, because then the bus will get there. It's easy for a bus to get there. They just pull up, they're there. Parking for photographers and videographers, we're going to have to go around the block, try to find parking, see if there's street parking. Sometimes there's even games or events going on in Cleveland too, which also makes it impossible to get there. So like, I really recommend in those situations, if you're relying on a very limited timeline, then it's going to be impossible. It's going to run over, things like that. Photographer's not going to get there on time because parking's an issue. So I would recommend having them on the party bus with you. Having some extra room. Don't say, oh, they're going to be on the party bus, and you go on the party bus, there's nowhere to sit. You have to sit on the floor or on a cooler. I've had to do that before.
On a cooler?
Yeah, I've had to sit on a cooler.
Brutal.
But like, make sure there's room for them to sit, have their equipment on there with them. They'll travel with you from every single location, make it smooth. Everyone's going to be there on time. You're not going to run behind.
Well, and honestly, it's just a logistics thing. Like, if you have to park a quarter mile away and then lug gear there and back, you know, as a bride, it's like you don't want to waste that extra 15 or 18 minutes every single stop. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
So
there's a time where one of our photographers didn't ride on the party bus, showed up late to one of the locations because she couldn't get there because of parking.
Well, what you got to do, you got to pull a Nick O'Connor, and you got to just park wherever the fuck you want.
And then Nick O'Connor will be crying when he's towed.
Then you're going to risk getting towed or a ticket, and you have to pay for it. That's not cheap.
Well, how long you pull up somewhere? How long are you at these places for your photos?
It doesn't matter when you're out in front of Progressive Field
about
or
those parking spots. They're aggressive.
Yeah, they're not going to like let you.
They're not nice.
Just pull up in front of the.
When the NBA draft came to Cleveland, and me and my buddy went, I parked right on the corner of East 9th and Lakeside where it was closed off. Parked right there. I got towed.
You got towed? Well, there you go. You're an idiot. And don't do that because that's what an idiot would do. So I will say, so along the same lines, I'm going to stick with the photo and video for a second. And I love this. I feel like this is like therapy for me. We're just getting this shit off my chest. I feel like we've got a very good timeline for our couple. So we tell people, hey, we're going to shoot your wedding photo-wise. And typically within 2 weeks, you're going to get your sneak peeks from us. And then we typically deliver our finals. We try to deliver them. I think we tell people like 12 to 16 weeks, depending on the time of year. all that good stuff. Julia, talk to me about, you shoot a wedding on Saturday. We work an 11 or 12-hour day. You get home at 1 o'clock in the morning. You're tired. You have Sunday off. Monday, we're closed here at the office. You don't even come back until Tuesday. And talk to me about the most annoying email you could possibly get on Sunday morning.
Where are my photos? Can I have my sneaks?
We haven't even put your photos on our server yet. They're not even on our server, and you're asking. I promise you,
Brutal.
Sunday morning, the day after your wedding, your photos are sitting on a memory card.
I understand these
camera.
brides because I'm that same person. I'm texting Julia, hey, can I have those pictures of me?
I've had,
with
yeah,
Moondog.
I'm
also that
people-
guy, so I understand.
I've
but
also had people the day of events, like after the event's over, they're like, hey, is there a way I can get these photos now? I'm like, no, they are on the SD
and
card.
people need to understand that a lot of these photos undergo editing, right? So
All
that
of
takes
them.
time to do
And-
on top of just the uploading. I don't
and
think
they're
people
shot
understand.
in RAW, which is very high
Yes.
quality, so you have to have crazy space.
People
to
don't
even
understand
download-
how much
Oh,
space that these
yeah.
photos take, especially when they're raw.
And frankly, video is even crazier. Like, we get all these people. It just cracks me up. Can we get our raw footage? 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 You're welcome to your raw footage, to be clear. However, raw footage, number one, means that it's shot in what's called S-Log, okay? Which means that the footage is going to be very, very, I'll call it gray to very, very bland.
like
And the
muted.
reason it's made that way is because on the back end, our professional editors go in and they do an entire color grade. They customize from the ground up to get you that cinematic look that you're going for.
Right.
The other thing is these files are shot in, we use Sony, so they're a Sony codec, but it could be a Nikon codec or a Canon codec. And the files are enormous. When you're shooting in 4K, 10-bit, 422, I mean, you can have a minute-and-a-half clip that can be 3 or 4 or 5 gigs.
Also, the
huge.
audio is separate from the actual video footage.
The average person, like, they have their $300 Chromebook at their house. You're not going to even be able to open one of these files, let alone watch it. And then she's exactly right. So you have no audio attached to the actual video file. And now you have to go and take and extract the
And try to sync
professionally
it.
recorded audio and then sync that without using all of the professional tools that we have. It's like there is a reason why all of these professionals exist. Because
Yeah.
if you could just take the raw footage and watch it like it was a beautiful movie, then you wouldn't have the need for it.
And even on the raw photo end, like they're very high quality photos taken. And if you think about raws, they're not going to look like the edited ones. They're going to be more dull, just like how it looked that day. They're not going to be very fun looking. So if you want your raw photos, don't expect them to be incredible.
Well, because you're talking about, at that point, you haven't adjusted exposure, you haven't adjusted contrast, you haven't crushed your blacks, you
Yep.
haven't moved your whites.
You're
you
also going to
haven't-
have all those test photos, those awkward photos, those weird ones, the like blurred ones if the camera went out of focus at times, which it does when it is really dark, like a darker environment. You'll have those blurred photos.
in
out of
a
focus.
world of Instagram and TikTok and all of these things, I think people think that like, oh, like I take a picture with my phone, like it looks nice. Like people have to understand that it's a whole different sensor size. It's a different process. It's a whole nother, ball of wax.
The reason
basically.
why you shoot in RAW is to have as much, like the largest quality in a photo you can have,
It's
so
the
that you can
data.
edit it.
Yeah.
The less quality the photo is, the less you can really do any adjustments or edit as great.
And yeah,
still
just-
have it come out.
And without getting too dorky, it's about the dynamic range. Like how much of the highlights can you bring back versus how much of the blacks can you bring back?
Yep.
And at the end of the day, the larger the photo is, the more data that's there,
Yep.
the more flexibility you're going to have on the back end with that, which I think is really important.
Cool. Well, are we done bitching and moaning? Or are we
Absolutely
ready to move
not.
on?
Absolutely not. We're not done
What?
bitching and moaning. Not even
We
close.
got a lot of stuff to talk about here.
Listen, I'm still bitching. If you have your hall or a wedding planner or any other person tell you that it is smart to do your toast in the middle of fucking dinner, it is not smart. It is fucking stupid.
Okay, this
Don't
was
do
important
that.
to talk about.
Yes.
This is stupid
Leave
because
dinner to be just dinner.
people want to eat. They want to have a conversation. They do not want to have to stop in the middle of eating their salad, if they stop, to listen to your toast. After the introduction, you have the attention of the entire room. Most people are going to choose to do a prayer or blessing anyways. Knock out the toast before dinner. Like, just stop with this. If you're a planner, stop. Just fucking stop.
Well, I think the
Or
problem
some
is
work at the
everybody has a million things they want to do, and they still want a 3-hour
Well, it's
down
not
set.
just that. They think that like planners and people who work on the event staff for venues think that that's how it's gonna shave off time when it's not. It's not gonna shave off much at all. So they're like, oh, well, why don't we do this during dinner? But they don't think of the other vendors that are there. If you have video, horrible. Don't do that because you're going to hear the audio of people eating and talking because people are going to be rude when there's food in front of them. They're just going to eat and not pay attention. And then 2, in the photo video thing, we add on an hour and we subtract the dinner hour because that's when we'll be eating. When you eat, that's our break time to rest, eat, chill. If we don't get that break time and you do speeches during dinner, guess what? That additional hour is going to be taken off.
There is nobody who can tell me that is just the right way or the smart way to do it. I don't want to hear from the hall that, well, our food needs to be out. Well, plan for your food to be out 15 minutes later. But it's just stop. Can we just stop?
Same thing with dances too. If you have a salad and a steak in front of me, I don't care who's dancing up there.
Yeah, just stop. Just stop with whatever person told you, whatever course you took for $19.99. Whatever person told you that, they're just wrong. They're just wrong, brutally wrong.
That's how you pissed off other vendors because I can't tell you how many times I've met with clients and I said, hey, let's do speeches before dinner. And then it's set that way. And next thing you know, they met with their day of coordinator, event planner, whatever of the sorts. And then they change it to have the speeches during dinner. And I'm here like, we had it good.
It just doesn't make any.
Bad.
It doesn't make sense. And if a planner wants to give me a call, I'm happy to tell you to your face why it doesn't make sense.
Well, while we're on the topic of dinner, I also think that feeding the vendors last is a big no-no.
Oh, yeah.
We need to be, and this isn't even selfishly, this is for operational efficiency. We need to be getting our food
right after the bridal
right after
party.
the bride and groom and the immediate family eats. Right, we should be top of all the rest of the regular guests.
Right, because the bride and groom are going to finish first, obviously, as they should, and then they could have the need pretty quickly to possibly have photos or videos done or certain songs.
Table done.
And that leads to the other point that when a vendor who is working a 10, 11, 12-hour day, for photographers and videographers, sometimes it's the first time they've sat down for the day.
Yep.
That 20, 25, 30 minutes is their dinner time, which has been negotiated into the contract. That is not the time for you to come over and say, hey, we need you to take a picture of this. Oh, come do this or play. That is dinner time. No different than your guests. So it's like, it's not about being rude. It's about we need to be fed first so that we can be available to do all of those things that are important.
And from a DJ perspective, there's always a ton of stuff that we have to do before and after dinner. The show doesn't move without us. So I can't tell you how many times I have to get up from the dinner table, make an announcement, or even worse, which I'm happy to do, but releasing tables. That means I'm still working my whole dinner time.
Nick, I'm going to tell you right now, this might be my biggest bitch and gripe. Like, I'm going to lose
You don't like releasing tables?
I'm going to lose my fucking shit here. And the reason being is because, listen, the catering company comes in with a goddamn army. There's typically like 7 to 10 people, okay? DJs are either there by themselves or they have an assistant with them. And you get that 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes to eat / dinner as a break. It is not our job to call tables for dinner. I didn't ask you to set up my speakers. I didn't ask the caterers to make an announcement. I didn't ask them to control my DMX lighting. If I asked them to help me break down, they would look at me like I'm fucking crazy. Do not ask a wedding professional who does not do food to call tables. That is the job of the caterer. If you do not have enough people, hire one more person. If I didn't have enough people to set up my DJ gear, I wouldn't be like, oh, hey, catering guy, can you step in and hold
You feel very strongly about this.
It's because it's ridiculous. It is their job.
I don't find it to be that big of an idea. In fact, I'm a bit of a power-hungry prick, so I kind of like telling people when they can eat and can't eat. But that also gives, if I'm the one dismissing tables, that gives me more power to let myself and the other vendors get ahead of the curve. And that is true. If I'm in control of the
Because
food,
you can hold it back.
I
based
can
on
hold it
how
back
they're
and be like,
eating,
hey,
yeah.
Julia, go ahead and grab a plate.
It
Go
is
eat.
not our job to do. It is the hall's job and or the caterer's job to release tables and to be professionals and understand when the vendors need to eat.
Bouncing off of that, don't ask a photographer, videographer while they're eating to go up and do table-to-table photos. I can't tell you how many times it's
Oh,
annoying.
yeah, you got to plan that shit out.
When I'm trying to eat and you come up to me and you see that I just got my full plate of dinner just sat right in front of me and you
and
go,
Julia's
hey,
a slow eater, too.
can we do table-to-table photos? And I'm looking at you like you're insane. Like, because, no. Like, and that usually happens when we end up getting fed last or somehow it doesn't get brought out in time. That's usually when it happens the most.
It could be 15 minutes and Julia's had about 3 or 4 peas down her throat, so you got to give
No,
her
I
time
can't
to
eat fast. My stomach has issues if I eat
I
too
will
fast.
say this. I want brides to understand this and other vendors. We may be the ones that have the stones to sit up here and say all these things and put it on YouTube and all that, but I promise you, every wedding vendor says and thinks these exact same things. They might
yeah.
tell you to your face, oh, no big deal. Trust me. We're just telling you the way it is, the truth,
I know
the
for a
facts.
fact almost every wedding photographer dreads table-to-table photos because normally they want them to do it during dinner and they don't have time to eat.
Well, listen, I could go on for another hour.
Yeah, I think
but
it's time we push forward a
we
little
should
bit
probably
here.
get me out of my
Yes.
Tasmanian devil mode right
So
now.
we're going to do a red flag, green flag, groom edition.
Okay.
And I'd like to lead the charge this one because I am the No Tux Given master. Okay, so
Did you say master?
master.
It's the ambassador.
I'm the master.
Okay.
I'm the rookie and the vet. All right.
He doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about.
Red flag,
This guy.
green flag, groom edition. Okay.
Okay.
I think you can only be the master if you've already been a groom.
Ooh.
Oh, damn, that actually makes sense. Anyways, so first one, groom wants to do his, he insists on writing his own vows, but hasn't even started them a week beforehand. Red or green flag?
Red. Well, no, a week beforehand?
Yeah. Week before, like the wedding day, like.
The week before, I think that's valid.
Okay.
I don't think that's necessarily red. I was thinking like the day of, then that's a red flag.
Okay, what do you think?
I would say a week before I think is still reasonable.
I
I'll
think
say
that's
green
reasonable.
flag.
So
that's
then,
green.
what's that point where it's like, okay, you need
If
to
it's the
get
night
stuff
before
in?
and you don't have your vows written, that's a problem.
What if the groom is someone like myself who's very well spoken, who can just go up there and freestyle that shit?
You couldn't though. You can't. You don't even know what the word gripe means.
I wouldn't freestyle that because it's a very emotional time.
But I think that's when feelings are the most raw.
Yeah, but people tend to get choked up or like start
why-
getting
that's why you
weird
gotta
or
be someone
awkward
like
with
me.
it.
Okay. I think a week before is green. Day before is probably red, unless you're Nick O'Connor. Moving forward, oh man, this is going to get a lot of things. Red flag or green flag if the groom spends more on his tux than the bride does on her dress.
I think that's a red flag. I think anytime the dress is usually more expensive than a tux.
Scott and I might be a little different on this.
Well,
I think normally
I don't
the
really
dress is gonna be
care
more
what the dress
expensive.
costs, but I mean, if you got it, you got it. So like, if you have the ability to go get yourself like a high-end tux, like, do what you got to do. I don't think it should really even be a comparison. I don't think if you
yeah.
get the dress of your dreams and it costs $10,000 and my tux costs
Yeah.
$12,000, then so be it.
I
But
can agree with that. I think, but normally the dress does usually cost more.
I think I'm fine with my tux costing more than the
But-
bride's. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal. If you like what you like, get it.
All right, what about a groom's and groomsmen planned bachelor trip the week before the wedding? Is that too close?
That's
Are we
too-
gonna have some hangover shit happening?
that's
or-
too
That's
close.
too close.
That's red
I
flag.
don't think it should be a week before.
I think that's too
because
close.
the week before you should put all your energy to make sure the wedding's like ready to go.
Listen, I've been to week of bachelor parties and I've seen some foul shit at those bachelor parties, and then like 3 days later they're crying like, "I love you." And it's like, dude, I saw you 3 days ago with a $1 bill hanging out your teeth. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen it. I've seen
Never
it.
put money in your
I
mouth.
mean,
That's gross.
we've all
That's
seen
what
the
you took
movie
away from that?
Hangover, where
Well,
they
yeah,
lose the
because
guy.
you know where that money's been. You don't know where it's been. It's not cleaned. It's nasty. It's probably the dirtiest thing you touch.
All right, what about red flag, green flag? If the groom is making all the decisions instead of the bride, he's picking the songs, he's picking the cake vendor.
Red flag. It should be both. Should be combined.
Hammer.
Man, I would
Should not
say
be one or the other. It
it de-
should be a partner decision.
Damn, huh?
Damn, Chris.
I would say that it depends on the couple. You know, some couples there's usually like a leader in the relationship. Clearly, that's you and not Chris and yours. But I'll say red flag. I think it's okay if the guy wants to make some decisions.
I think you should talk to each other. I think it should be a partner. I think a wedding should be both working together. Yeah, one tends to like and work more on certain things than the other, but I think overall, I think everything should be just talked about.
What is your least favorite cake flavor? What do you hate?
I don't really like cake that much.
What's your least favorite pie flavor?
I'm not the biggest pie person
God
either.
damn it, Julia. What's your least favorite candy?
I don't like
Don't say you don't like
Butterfingers.
candy.
You don't Butterfingers are
I don't like Skittles either. Skittles is gross.
Okay, so what if Chris said that Skittles are my absolute favorite candy and I want them at every table at my wedding?
That's fine.
You said that's fine, but your emotions were it's not fine.
No, I think it's fine. If he wants some Skittles as like a little thing at every table, that's cool. Because then I will also have a little thing of candy too at every table.
What if he said no candy for you?
He wouldn't do that. He's not the biggest sweet person. He doesn't like sweets.
Julie, you're taking this too literal.
He likes Reese's cups. That's literally about it. And mini M&Ms.
I've got nothing to say. I like mini M&Ms. I got two more for you guys. So, if the groom wants to get a matching tattoo with his bride,
No.
red flag.
Red flag.
Red flag.
I can't tell you how many times people
Who was that chick that had? Was that Dan the Man or something like that?
That's
Dantastic.
a curse. It's a curse. If you get a matching tattoo, you're doomed. I wouldn't recommend getting it until you've been married for several years and have kids and you know you're in it the long run at that point. Then you can, because my parents have matching tattoos. I think they have each other's initials.
It's definitely a red flag, and I highly suggest you guys
Mr. Webb's
stay out
got
of it.
your mom's name on him?
I think so.
Wow.
Now,
They do.
If you've been married 20, 30 years and you want to get something like that,
and they have
all
kids.
right.
They're, we're all adults. They're in it for the long run, so that's fine.
Unless you get something, the only way I could see it being okay is if you don't get the other person's name. Let's say you get one half of a heart and the other person has the other half of the heart.
That's cute.
Or a moon or something. Something where if you break
A
up
moon?
with that. Listen, if you guys like moons. And that way, if you break up, it's not like you have Shalissa's name on your torso.
Shalissa.
Yeah, I think
that's what you
I
went
think
with?
that's acceptable. Something like I've seen those where like they put them next to each other and it creates a whole heart. I think things like that is cute.
That way it doesn't matter. You don't have Shalissa's name on your forehead.
I'm going to tell you something.
But you got to go to every single time you look at that tattoo, it's going to remind you of them,
Yeah.
Let me
for
tell you
sure.
something, okay?
which is something you have to deal with.
Sebastian Maniscalco, you know what he says? He goes, you don't put a bumper sticker
On a Bentley.
on a Ferrari.
Ooh, Ferrari.
How about that? Got a few bumper stickers on your arm there, young lady.
I'm still a Ferrari.
That value has been diminished.
Nope.
The
Hey,
moment it
did you
drove off
know-
the lot, it was worth a lot less.
Did you know that if you have tattoos, you're less likely to get killed?
By who?
Just murdered. They can identify you easier if you have a tattoo.
I don't think murderers give a shit about tattoos. They're killing people
Also,
regardless.
cannibals, it's been said that if you have tattoos, you don't taste as good.
All right, moving forward here while we're
Wow.
on the segment of grooms, we're due.
No tux given?
No tux given. I wanted a super dramatic pause that time because
Weak.
I've wanted to talk about this for a while, and I don't think I've seen anybody do this. So this is an idea for all the grooms out there. If you want to take your wedding to the next level, if you want to take your experience to the next level, and you got the dough to back up this idea, I say do it. And if you're having a hard time putting it together, reach out to me, and I will help you put it together. I would love to see a groom do a James Bond styled shoot. I think that would be sick. But to do it, you got to do it right. That's why you need some dough. Okay, so first and foremost, you got to have the right suit. You got to have a nice fitting suit. It's got to be a quality suit. And because someone who is a suit enthusiast can tell a good suit versus a bad suit. So you got to have a good suit, but you also got to have the Aston Martin, right? You got to have an Aston Martin. And if you have the money to get one from back then that's what you got to do. But how do you guys feel about a James Bond styled shoot for a groom?
I think that's cool, but I think you can do it without having all that money. No one.
Well, you got to have the Aston Martin at the
I
very
don't think
minimum.
your friends are gonna
You keep
know.
saying Ashton. It's Aston Martin.
Got to have
I don't even know what that is.
the Martin.
You're from Lodi. Makes sense.
I think most people aren't gonna see a picture of a guy in a suit and know the brand.
If you
Or know the
if you are
quality.
standing in front of that, are you talking about the suit brand and quality?
Yeah.
Well,
no one's gonna know
some
in the
guys
photo.
do for sure.
Most of the groom
Scott, can you look at a cheap suit and an expensive suit and tell the difference?
from a photo.
I can.
Probably not. But
Exactly.
I could tell an ill-fitting suit from a well-fitting
Yeah,
suit.
it should be
That-
well
that
fitted,
too.
but I think the quality for photos, I don't think it necessarily
You could
matters.
tell.
You're not gonna be able
You
to
could tell.
tell.
DJ RevDev could tell.
Okay, but he's like a guy who knows suits. Most groomsmen and people like that, most
Well,
of them don't.
The people who would find a James Bond promo shoot awesome is someone who's going to be able to tell the difference between a good suit and a bad suit.
Well, I could take this a
Fact.
step further. So obviously, we all have heard of the brides doing what they call a boudoir session, a little bit of a scantily clad, something to give their
Yeah.
their
I like
husband.
those. I think those are cute.
So there's a new term going around called a Dudeoir. Mm-hmm. And I'm not making
Yeah,
this
no,
up.
it's a
Yeah,
thing.
and guys will do like pecker photos and stuff, like
Them in their boxers, you know,
What?
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Who's taking the photos?
A photographer.
photographer.
Wow. That's
Normally,
interesting.
like, I used to
Dudeoir.
do.
Can you imagine? Like,
Boudoir.
I would be doing the George Costanza, no shirt
I
on the
used to do-
couch. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be great.
I used to do
interesting.
boudoir photos.
Did you do any Dudeoirs?
No, I always wanted to do like a couple shoot of a couple together.
How together?
Just like, in their lingerie, like intimate, cute photos. I think they're really pretty.
How intimate?
Not
You're
doing
shooting
the
pornos?
deed intimate. But no, because like when I think of photos, I think of like lighting, how the person looks in there, and I think it's like really beautiful images. And it's also a very like it's a very like intimate time too, but it's also how do I say this? It's like
Very arousing.
no. None of it's arousing because I think of it as like art. Like a person's body can be art. It doesn't have to be sensual. Because when you do those photos, you think of how the lighting's on their skin, how the shadows look. It's very, you have to think of it very artistically of hitting those angles. But it's also a very like hard moment for someone to be that open to you with their body during that time.
Okay, enough of the boudoirs. I don't care. This is the
Sorry.
no tucks given
But I think it's
segment.
cute if you do like photos of the couple together too. You can do some. I think that'd be nice for a guy too to do a photo with his wife or soon-to-be wife. Some
Listen, girls are doing
cute couple
boudoirs for their
photos.
boyfriends. Too,
I
at this
never
point,
really
so it's
got
like-
that. If I'm being honest, like, I'm kind of going off topic here, but like most of the time, you've already like been with your wife or
already
your
hit that
spouse.
I,
and it's like don't get me wrong, it's a nice gesture, but
I
like
think
what
it's
is this
cute.
like picture gonna do
I
for
think
me?
it's cute. It's also a time where the girl's being very vulnerable.
It's a red flag if
taking
a girl's
photos.
just getting a boudoir just to have a boudoir. That's a red flag.
I think normally
And I know girls that do that shit.
no.
Just to have boudoirs
no,
lying around.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I think
It's a red flag.
it actually helps. I don't think that's a red
That's
flag.
for sure a red flag if you're just
Boudoir-
getting boudoirs to have them lying around.
Boudoir is used either for the bride to have photos, give them to the groom on
Yeah.
the wedding day as a gift.
Yeah, but if
Or-
you're having single ladies out here with boudoirs lying around,
No, they do
Red
that
flag.
to help their body to feel better in their own body and themselves as empowerment for
back to no
themselves.
tucks given.
So I don't think that's a red
Jesus
flag.
Christ.
No, I can understand part of that.
No, that's why a lot of women do that because to help feel more confident. 'Cause
and
are
then
very,
some
like-
women do it so they just have some like high quality nudes to send out.
No, they just like some people just it helps them feel confident and better about themselves and they have it to say, hey, wow, I feel beautiful in that picture. I look beautiful.
Well, here's what I'll say.
Well, aren't you a woman advocate?
This is the difference between men and women. I actually believe that you believe everything that you're saying right now. So that's good.
And in a world where you see a lot of women on Ozempic looking like skeletons, it's actually affecting a lot of women and how they look about their bodies.
Social media's doing that too. But
It is.
but
It's
that's why we
big.
need James Bond to be
that's-
in a nice Tom Ford suit with an Omega watch on, maybe a little Patek on himself with the Aston Martin DB12. Take a styled shoot, because that would be awesome if you have the dough.
You
Don't
also
try
have
to
to
do
have
it if
the
you don't have the
time.
dough. If you don't have the dough, don't do it.
You also have to make the
I don't want
time
to see you
out.
in a Burlington in front of a Ford with an Invicta watch on. You won't get my approval.
You have an Invicta
I know.
watch.
I know, but I'm not trying to do James Bond shoots.
I don't think
okay?
you have to have name brands to do James
You
Bond
do.
suit.
You do.
Shoot, I think you can do one without name brands.
Nope,
and
you gotta
fun
have
with
a
it
nice
and make
suit.
it look cool.
Gotta have a nice suit, and you gotta have an Omega.
Fight.
So, moving forward here, that is a no tux given. Any other things we want to throw in there as far as that, Julia? Do you want to tangent any more on your boudoirs?
Julia, have you done a boudoir before?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, no, I've taken a boudoir shoot. Yes.
For yourself, or you filmed them?
No, I've taken photos of a boudoir shoot. Yeah.
Listen, I have a story about a boudoir. My last girlfriend, you remember, I'm not gonna say any names.
No names, please.
It was 2-3 weeks in of me talking to this girl, hanging out, whatever, and she had done a boudoir, and this was taken before we started talking, which I immediately thought was a red flag. Like, why do you just have a boudoir lying around? Okay, I get the concept of boudoir. You give it to the guy, you know, but then you're just giving it to me around week 3. Red flag.
She gave them to me too. No, I'm just kidding.
I believe it.
No,
Red
I
flag.
think
I mean, come on.
it's a really nice moment capturing boudoir photos. It's like a moment where someone's being very vulnerable to you, and you're just there to make them look beautiful, stunning in the photos. I think honestly, it coming from a dancer too, of humans' body is art, and you can make it look beautiful and stunning with the lighting, the positioning.
I've
things like
often been
that.
told that my body is art.
Can you see how unserious Scott and I are taking this right now? She's like, the body's art. It's a sculpture. It needs to be perfectly captured. And we're just like, yeah, I'll sit on the couch with some grapes. Take a couple shots of me.
No,
So-
I think it's something good.
I do think that we want to get to one more thing. So,
And I feel very strongly about this last topic.
yeah, Nick had a really, 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 really bad experience this past weekend. So you can lead the
How are we doing on
charge
time? I
here.
got time to elaborate on this, or what are we doing here?
Yeah, you got about 10, 15 here.
I can handle that. So let me set the scene a little bit. Julia was there actually as a photographer. This was last weekend, and again, no names, but super nice couple. Wedding was going super smooth, and there was about 80 people at this wedding. It wasn't a super big wedding, and when you have something that's that small, it's a little bit. You have 200 people drinking, it's gonna be a banger no matter what. 80 people, you got to be a little on your toes. So we finished ceremony, we finished cocktail hour. They wanted a super easy wedding. There was first dance, a couple parent dances. They weren't even cutting the cake. You know,
It was a private cutting.
it was a private cutting. They had 4 or 5 formalities plus the toast. So in theory, you have about 20 minutes of formalities to achieve, 20 to 30 minutes. So we finished cocktail hour. We do the introductions. Next thing we know, we're doing our thing, and the food truck is late. So they had one food truck for about 85 guests. Okay.
How late was the food truck?
The food truck was about 45 minutes late. And then when they get there, it takes them 15 to 20 minutes just to set up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now
and
we're talking about an hour of lateness.
we even pushed up a lot of the formalities that were supposed to be after dinner
Yep.
to open up the dance floor to before dinner.
Yeah, so me being quick on my feet, we pushed the stuff from that was supposed to be after dinner because it was supposed to be dinner, then parent dances, then an anniversary dance. So I pushed, all that stuff up just to extend
Except
it
for
out
the
a little bit,
anniversary.
except for the anniversary because that was another surprise. But pushed it all up, and we still were, running. So we get to dinner, and the food truck finally gets here, and the bride is freaking out, and I'm the person. There was a wedding planner there, Leslie. Blah blah blah. I'm the person that's trying to calm things down, and we got to figure it out. And then I'm the one that has to dismiss tables as well.
Brutal.
I know.
You know how I feel about that?
I know. But so the food truck gets there. I walk out to them hey guys, you guys are super late. Bride's freaking out. Not to be an asshole, but you got to get shit cracking here. We need you serving food in the next 15 minutes. Okay, yeah, we got you. Blah blah blah. So from the time we finished the last formality to the time we ate dinner and then started the anniversary dance, it was about a 2.5 hour gap.
Wow.
So that means there were 85 people, 90 including vendors, who sat down for about 2.5 hours before ever getting up to dance or whatever. And you can't just drink your life away on a Sunday wedding.
No. Yeah.
All the cheese cube trays were eaten up at this point.
If you want your wedding to be fun, this is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. And so, it was really serious. And by the time we finished that all up, I'm like, hey guys, you guys ready to party? And everybody's like, fuck yeah, finally. So we want to break down how to properly feed a wedding, okay? And I guess we'll start it off with food trucks since we are already on that topic. Food trucks can be trendy. They can be cool, especially if you get a name brand like a Barrio or Swenson's truck. They can be cool. But where do they fit? If you're going to do it for your main dinner, there are two ways that I've seen it done properly. And I've done them both. In fact, I did a wedding for a friend where I brought on a bunch of buddies and we were servers for a wedding. They paid us cash, blah, blah, blah. And they had two food trucks for about 150 people. And if you want to achieve the food truck way for your dinner, you have to have a server there or servers. I had a team of 5 of us that we would go, and they had Scantrons that you could fill out what you wanted. Oh, Jimmy wants this, this, and this. We would go table for table, collect all the Scantrons, run it back to the truck. One person, me, would be there expoing, make sure all the food's on one of the big, large trays, and then I would hand it out to whoever was my runner. They would go back to table A. And each one is labeled with name. Jim, here's your food. Scott, here's your food. Julie, here's your food. Lucy, blah, blah, blah.
Right. And
we were able to bang out an 150-person wedding in about 30 to 45 minutes from a food truck. They had 2 of them. The other way to do it is if you're going to do that and you're not going to have servers, you need probably 1 truck per 50 people. I think that is a good rule of thumb that nobody has ever talked about, and we are setting it here first on the Just the Wedding podcast. That's how you got to do it. Now, if you don't want to do it as your main thing, they also fit really, really well as a late night snack. They're an awesome late night snack. I mean, just imagine if you got the pool like that, you got Post Malone pulling up in a Raising Cane's truck to your wedding in the middle of the night, you know? Late night snack is, I mean, that's the only other way you can do it. How do we feel about food trucks, given all this integral information?
I think they're cool. I think they're fun. I think they bring a neat experience to a wedding, but it does need to be done correctly, especially if it's going to be dinner. And also make sure that whatever food truck you're hiring doesn't have just 2 people working and cooking.
That was the other problem. There were only 2 people in this truck.
Because then, again, food's not going to be made fast enough. Make sure you do have servers, the staff to do it, instead of making the DJ or the day of coordinator basically be the server that day.
Yeah, I was running. I mean, people were so like,
and I
was running chips and salsa to tables and shit
don't
just
have
to get people
tables come up and then take their order at the food truck, because then again, that's going to push back. Definitely do the Scantron route where you're getting orders from the tables and the people at the tables, the guests, and then send it back. That way the cook can just keep going and going and going, pushing out the food. Late night snack, I think that's phenomenal. I've been to some weddings where a food truck was a late night snack. It wasn't getting crazy busy. People will just drink, have fun on the dance floor. Whenever they get a little hungry, go out to the food truck.
Yeah, to me, I mean, I think it's simple. Just shame on whoever that food truck was.
It's Barrio. I will name names.
Wow.
And
Don't care.
They're big on catering
big
for
name
weddings.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is just shame on them. If you're going to take a wedding, you need to have the ability to get the food out in a reasonable amount of time. You can't be an hour late. You can't have a staff of 2. And you can't take 2.5 hours to feed 80 people.
Being late is unacceptable.
It's brutal. I mean, that late too. I mean, by the end of that 2.5 hours, I was the person calling tables. I felt like the bad guy getting my vendor meal somewhere in the middle, eating a taco, while half the room didn't even eat a tortilla chip.
They were like looking at the food, shaking their legs. They're like, dude, when am we going to eat?
People were sick. It was brutal. But so that's the food truck. And then also, I guess I could take it a step further. I used to be in the the restaurant industry. I was a server, bartender, all that. If you're going to have something like a Barrio, okay, where they have chips and salsa, chips and queso, chips or sour cream, whatever, there are ways that you can shorten that delivery process of food. We get there, they're late, they're trying to portion out salsa and have chips portioned out. Salsa is cold. It's something that could be pre-portioned in a cup. Chips could be pre-portioned in a tray. That's something you do the night before. So all you got to do is start handing me chips and salsa and I can run them. Why do I got to wait an hour and a half for you to portion out salsa? So that's the message to the food truck providers is do your stuff ahead of time and pre-portion stuff out.
That way that can be ran out first, and then they'll have something to snack on while they're waiting for their tacos.
Exactly. So moving forward, now we're going to go with the debate of dinner, a plated dinner versus buffet. So before we get into each of these, what do you like better, plated or buffet, Julia?
I don't really know.
Okay, Scott.
It depends on what food's being provided, really.
Generally speaking, I like a plated meal better. I think it's classier. I think it looks better. And I think when people don't have to get up to get their own meal, I think it's nice.
Buffets, there's pluses to buffets because, like, you can go pick what you want. There's usually a good array of food to choose from. And you can also usually go up for seconds.
Yeah. So there's anything, there's pros and cons.
Yeah, pros and cons to both.
So we'll break down the plated dinner. You are right, Scott. It is more of an elegant approach. You're going to have controlled portions. It's going to feel luxurious to your guests. It is, and it is nice. But some of the cons can be a higher cost. In some cases, it could be a slower service.
It could also be a smaller portion.
It could be smaller portions, less variety. Guests are less likely to maybe like what is being served.
Or they don't eat it all.
They don't eat it all, a lot of waste. So, and like I said, I mean, they're expensive, You could be spending $75 to $150 on a plate. When some people might just be cool with chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Like a Dudeoir.
No.
I'm just joking. So, I mean, that it's really what you want out of your wedding. But I also don't see anything wrong with a buffet. I am a proponent of the buffet. I love a buffet. But if you're going to do a buffet, there's ways to do it as well. Some of the pros of a buffet. Variety. It's sometimes faster. It's usually cheaper. And there's going to be something for everybody to eat.
You can go up for seconds, too.
You can go up for seconds.
That's the second time you said that.
Hey,
You're
no,
hungry
I think
for
that's
lunch,
good
huh?
because if people go up, some people tend to need more food. Like, I never really go up for seconds, but some people, they go up, grab a little bit, come down, sit, eat. Then they're like, oh, I'm still hungry. Go back up. They have the ability to go back up again.
Yeah.
I would say that in general, there's more than one way to skin a cat at a wedding. You just need to make sure that your guests are being fed in a reasonable amount of time. Hopefully the food is somewhat decent, warm. And I feel like as long as you're getting people fed in a reasonable amount of time,
Also, yeah.
they'll live with it,
Buffets
Also,
do look less formal.
They
I'll be
also
honest.
take longer.
I have a solution.
Okay.
I have a solution for the length of a buffet. You can do two things to, take that down a little bit. Number one is have a double-sided buffet.
Yeah, it still takes long.
So
though.
some people will just have the single-way buffet and there's servers portioning out a spoon of pasta. But if you say fuck that and you open it up to two sides,
It's still going to take a bit.
it helps.
So you get those slow
But
people.
that's twice as fast.
Yeah, but it still takes time.
And
It's
then
longer
the other
than plated.
way is you have a mirrored buffet. So you have one side up on this side, one side up on this side of the room. So now I can dismiss two tables at one time, and people are getting step further.
You know what,
two double buffets. Now you have four.
You
lines
know what's
of
making me
people.
laugh right now? He's saying these things like he just invented the wheel.
No,
I've been doing weddings with double buffets for
but it's still,
25 years.
A
It still
double
takes time,
mirrored
though.
buffet. So now you have four lines of people
That
going
happens.
through.
Yeah, we've been to some like
So
that.
yes.
But
but
Scott,
that
Scott
is
can,
your solution to not have a long buffet line.
But Scott can even agree. It still takes time.
It does.
Yeah,
If you
it
have
doesn't
four
really
people
shorten
going
it that
through,
much.
That's a lot better than
It
one
doesn't
buffet
shorten
line.
it that much.
4 lines is 4 times as fast as 1 line.
It's still gonna take time. You still need to block a good amount
All
for
right.
a buffet.
Yeah, you got time.
I have an event in a couple hours, so I got to wrap this.
Last question.
What?
Would you rather have a Gordon Ramsay plated plate or Guy Fieri in a food truck slinging out dynamite?
Gordon Ramsay.
I don't like spicy stuff, so Gordon Ramsay.
Well, dynamite is just his slang, not the
He
spice
likes
level of his
spicy
food.
stuff usually.
Ugh.
So Gordon
Julia,
Ramsay.
all day you've missed the point of these questions.
I don't care. I like Gordon better. I watch
Guy
him.
Fieri will be eating a
I
burger.
watch-
He's like, man, that's
I
dynamite, dude.
watch Gordon Ramsay more than Guy Fieri, so yeah, I like Gordon. Gordon
I'm
alone.
definitely taking a plated meal for sure.
I'm taking Gordon for sure. All right, cool.
All right.
Glad we got that.
Listen, guys, sorry for all the bitching and griping, but it needed to be done. We are heading into October. Give your local wedding vendor a hug. It's that time of year. But in the meantime, that being said, it's just a wedding out.
It's just a wedding podcast.